And now to our exclusive interview with the nation's chief law enforcement officer. Attorney General Eric Holder rarely does interviews, but today he had much to say about homegrown terrorism, threats to the nation, and race relations, including his own experience with racial profiling. Our Pierre Thomas spent the day with the Attorney General.
Just before 8 a.m., the Attorney General leaves his home and is greeted by his armed FBI detail. His first mission each day, a review of the threat matrix, laying out how terrorists are actively targeting America.
That's a hell of a way to start your day every day.
Yeah, you're typically not finding good news.
Overnight, the FBI and Homeland Security sent out a bulletin warning authorities about Americans training with terrorists overseas and returning home. Holder says he's troubled by this new emerging threat.
This whole notion of radicalization is something that perhaps did not loom as large a few months ago as it does now. And it's the shifting nature of threats that I think keeps you up at night.
Terrorism, espionage, corruption, the pressure of hardball politics, all on the plate for the nation's top cop. As the summer races by, Holder faces a series of critical decisions. Whether to investigate the Bush administration detention and interrogation of terrorism suspects. Holder made clear that's a real possibility, regardless of the fallout.
I've said that waterboarding is torture. I think the department, at least some of the people who worked here, simply lost their way. We will follow the facts and the law wherever that takes us.
Do you think you have the independence to do that if you need to make that call?
Yes.
On the issue of race and policing inflamed by the arrest of Harvard professor Louis Gates, while he declined to take sides, Holder acknowledged he too has been racially profiled.
I was a young college student driving from New York to Washington, stopped on a highway and told to open the trunk of my car because a police officer told me he wanted to search it for weapons. And I remember as I got back in the car and continued on my journey, how humiliated I felt, how angry I got.
Have we reached a point where law enforcement is colorblind?
No, not yet, but I think we're certainly in a much better place than we were. I think work remains. But there also is work that needs to be done in communities of color, where I think people too often want to assume that the police or people in law enforcement are doing the wrong thing, see police policies, law enforcement policies as misguided or directed only at people of color, when in fact, that's not the case.
Progress has been made, Holder said, but the national conversation on race remains vexing. Pierre Thomas, ABC News, Washington.